I am here with my beautiful mom, and we've got our tea, and I thought it would be fun to just talk about tarot, because you don't really know a lot about tarot.
No, I don't know the truth about tarot. I know a lot of made up stuff about tarot.
So what do you know about tarot?
Well, I'll tell you how I grew up knowing about tarot. Tarot was like, it was right there in the line of like the Ouija board.
Which the Ouija board, for those of you that don't know, is like this board where you put your hands on and it like moves around, and it's like spirits talking you through the board. Which tarot is not the same thing at all. Like it's totally different. But you kind of grew up in the era of the satanic panic.
Well, yeah, that came a little bit later, but mostly it was in this fundamental movement in time where you have these, the hippie movement, and then Vietnam, and then you had people trying to sort it out. But in that, you had a very conservative conversation and a radical conversation.
So you had kind of like...
And marijuana. There was a lot of marijuana.
So you were kind of in a melting pot of two very polarizing cultures.
Very much so.
Which is kind of interesting, because I feel like sometimes today we're in a very polarizing culture. It's politics and not religion.
Very much so. The only thing is that there wasn't so much like angry, well, at least from my perspective, there wasn't angrier like, I hate you. It was more like, I just don't understand you and you're scared. No, it was more like, don't go near that person because I don't understand you. So scary. Just run away from them. And as a result, tarot was right in there. Like that deck would make the devil come into your life and not just do havoc, like cause some really bad shit, to happen.
And interesting, so that was part of the fear propaganda.
Very much so.
From, religious ideologies.
Yeah.
Which is interesting that, fear is a very powerful controlling mechanism.
And then I think, like Dungeons and Dragons and all these real kind of...
rock music.
Oh my gosh. You couldn't even dance. No dancing, no rock music, because that would lead to devil's work. I went to a small Christian school. You were not allowed to dance. You were not allowed to listen to rock music. If you did this stuff...
But did they actually, you're not, not even on the radio?
No. And if you did, you would go to hell. You were on your way. Oh, gosh.
Jesus does not like rock music.
And so it was really confusing, because then as you got older...
Where did that come from? Where do you think that came from? Was that like sexual suppression, or...
I think it's losing control. I think people losing control in society. You have this real conservative white collar button, and now you have people with long hair and lots of color, wild beads, dancing to Woodstock. I think it's just losing control.
And that's so interesting that you bring that up, because fear brings out the worst in people. And often when we feel like society is changing or we're losing control over our paradigm, that's when almost the worst comes out.
Right.
And it becomes, you're going to go to hell if you don't do what I say.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
And really, I think we can recognize that now, looking back, we see it as fear propaganda. But during the time, it felt probably very real.
Well, yeah. And then you're in a group.
Right.
You're not
Peer
just,
pressure.
you're in a social group. You identify with your family members. Anybody who doesn't think that way, they're kind of like, that person is, on the outs. Also, too, Anita Bryan.
Oh, who is that?
Oh my gosh. So we're talking Florida here. Anita Bryan did this whole campaign on homosexuals.
Uh-oh.
It was catastrophic. She was like the
wait, was she like anti?
She was so
was
anti.
She homophobic?
You need to Google this person.
Oh wow. Okay.
Anita Bryan. She was the spokesperson for Disney and orange juice and everything Florida. And she came out with a real strong stance against homosexualness. I mean, she had...
So that was kind of under the umbrella.
She had it...
You get your Ouija board, you get your tarot cards, and
homosexuals
we're
Satan's
all part
work.
of... We're all the...
Yeah. And
That's
it was
so
so sad because she pitted people in this big movement. But then there's a good ending. It didn't work. It blew up in her face. I'm sorry, Anita. Because I know...
I'm not sorry, Anita.
Well, you know,
I'm not
she
sorry.
felt passionate about what she was doing, but she did it at the expense
of real people.
Right. And that's wrong. And that's also tarot. You know, also you could switch it to that. You know, people get scared. They do things. They say things that they have no understanding about. And then they
cast judgment.
They do.
They alienate.
And they use fear.
Suppress.
Yeah.
Right.
So that was, if you want to tie in that's how tarot was introduced to me. Do not touch that thing because that's going to make you go to hell and everybody that you love have problems and go to hell too. That's
pretty intense,
That's
pretty
intense.
I mean, I can see why you didn't become a tarot reader. You're like, oh, and you know, it's almost like this is like the gateway drug.
That's exactly it.
The gateway drug to hell. Oh my God. That's clever. Yeah, that's it. And the next thing you know, those homosexuals
after you. Isn't that the way
so
it is?
Silly. I mean, we laugh at it now because society's changed.
Yeah.
But during the time, it was actually pretty
very serious. And if you think about the politics that were going on, and I'm sorry to say that, you know, history does, not sorry to say, but it is a truth. History does repeat itself. Mm-hmm. And we see so much of that pattern today.
Today, unfortunately. Yeah, ignorance has not left humanity, unfortunately.
No, and it plays itself out in so many arenas.
Right. There is, unfortunately, still racism, and homophobia, you know, that unfortunately still... it still exists.
And it will... Because that's kind of how man operates.
Well, to tie back to what you said earlier, it's fear. Yeah, fear from losing control.
That is it.
So, you know, when we're losing control and we're losing sense of control, we have to make a villain, or we look at other people who are different than us, whether it be their sexuality or their skin color, and then develop this antagonistic viewpoint that's completely...
Because that gives us a sense of control.
Right, it gives us a sense of control.
Yeah.
Which is, paradoxically, makes society even less stable.
And does bad decisions. Exactly. And makes for, you know, this...
More diverse.
Yeah.
More division.
More division.
So when you were learning about tarot cards, or when you were even introduced to tarot cards, it was, you know, you were in a very religious environment.
Right, because we had Jesus, and then we had the devil, and this is the devil.
Okay.
So don't go near that devil. Do not go near that.
And why did people think that tarot cards were connected to the devil?
Because tarot's, I think, you know, you went to see the mystic person behind that beautiful screen of fringe with the crystal ball who's going to tell you your future.
She was probably a homosexual.
and that, you know, that just seems so out there. It's just so out there.
Well, I mean,
and so it.
And anything out there was associated with the devil.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because it just didn't follow the Bible, which is in a book, and that's very much so.
Which is interesting because there's so many things in the Bible that are out there that are quite exotic and eccentric.
That's true.
You know?
That's true. So, so that's how I found my introduction to tarot. So I guess you could say, so now where does that lead me today?
Right. So you were raised in a place where, because of like religious fear mongering, very apprehensive. But now as time has kind of simmered and
I'm a grown
you're a grown woman.
I'm a grown up. I'm a girl grown up now.
I hope so. Yeah, now you grow.
Yes, big girl.
We can have our own thoughts. We can make our own opinions, and I think that that's always the most important about whether you're gonna choose to enjoy tarot or not enjoy tarot. Right. Make your own thoughts on the matter. So how I like to explain tarot to people is it's a collection of 78 artworks. Every single card has a different artwork on it. And each card represents an archetype in the human experience. An archetype is like a fundamental connection between humans, like death, for example. Every single human experiences death or love or joy. These are archetypes, they're fundamental human experiences, and each card has an artwork illustrating that, a different one. And so that's essentially what tarot is. It's just a collection of art on cards, on cardstock. Like there's,
that doesn't sound very scary.
It's not. I think where people get scared is the fact that there are, especially when you go to a tarot reader, there's an element of the tarot reading experience that defies logic. And it's beyond maybe our scientific method, kind of our ability to understand what it's like to get a tarot reading. I think that's where people get so spooky about it, because it doesn't make sense.
So therefore it has to be naughty. And
it has to be naughty.
It has to be evil because it doesn't make it.
There's something about it that is very powerful and very transformative. And when people are faced with things that they don't know, they get scared. Right.
And that makes great sense, because that does explain, when you've described the tarot and you've said, there's all these choices in these cards, and somehow the choices they align specifically with what the conversation is at the time.
It's kind of mind blowing.
That is mind blowing.
Right. I mean,
that is mind blowing.
There are 78 different cards, and as you're getting a reading, it can be so specific to you or your situation, or maybe the messages that you needed to hear, that it's like, how is that possible?
Yeah. How did you get behind the curtain?
How did you do
that?
The curtain?
Because that curtain is in my mind.
Right.
That's unique to me. And how did you get into my mind?
Right. And so I'll tell you a secret. I'll tell you a secret. So your mind, our minds, operate, there's a huge part of our mind that's the subconscious. And our subconscious is what's responsible for dreams and our feelings and our emotions. And our subconscious doesn't use a language. It communicates to us via artwork and dreams and symbolism. And so when you are at a crossroads in life, or you're wanting wisdom or insight, more often than not, our subconscious already has that wisdom, already has that answer. But we get so caught up in our small tunnel vision of life that we're not able to access our subconscious to integrate that wisdom. And so what tarot can do, and this isn't the only thing tarot does, but what tarot can do is it acts as a conduit for us to project our subconscious onto the artwork and make new neural pathway connections of insight, enlightenment, wisdom, that kind of thing, using artwork as an alchemical tool.
Oh, well, that explains a lot, because, when I look at this artwork, I have a lot of feelings about that.
Yeah.
And this particular deck is, wow, that's beautiful. She's got the rose, and her hair is like roots.
I knew you would love this deck. Actually, this is one of my favorite decks. It's called the Tarot of Mystical Moments, and every single artwork is stunning. She's an incredibly gifted artist. But more so, all of her art evokes like an emotion.
Yeah.
And so when you look at this artwork, your subconscious, which is unique to you, looks at this artwork and it responds an emotional reaction. You interpret this artwork unique and differently to you. And that is how tarot can kind of get in your mind.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Because your mind is being projected on the artwork.
Okay, I get it. Well, that makes sense. It's kind of like going to an art gallery, and you know you're only seeing one piece of art, and you sit there and you look at it and you reflect, and you do walk away with a feeling,
a story.
Yeah,
right. It transcends language.
Yeah.
So that would be.
And I've never been to a gallery and come away going, "That was Satan's work." That just got to my core.
Well,
I mean, I never felt that. Ever.
No.
I come back from a gallery going, oh, that's
beautiful.
Good. It was, even if it was.
Well, to be fair though, there was a time when artwork was considered incredibly, like, do you know the artwork Madame Bovary or whatever, the lady who has the pearl slipping off of her shoulder, and that was like so scandalous.
That's true.
Right?
That was true.
So there was an artwork where, she just had like her sleeve down her shoulder, and it was so scandalous that she was like kicked out of society
again.
Right. And so artwork has been,
because it
a facilitator for the taboo. It has been, a way for artists to rebel against society. Right. It has been a way to push back. And tarot is really just that. It's artwork used in that way to push back against maybe religious paradigms or religious oppression, to have other methods of personal wisdom, insight, and spiritual tools.
Which those things, the oppression, maybe are the things that block you from really thinking about something clearly.
That's true. Fear, control, oppression, right?
Growing up in a tight Christian school, you were not allowed to think about anything. Sex was, you waited till you were married.
Or you become a homosexual. It's so silly.
Oh gosh, no, they were, it was...
Right, but they were very fear-based.
They were fear-based, and anything from what this organization really thought about was, so extreme to the fundamentals of their faith that, if you go even near that, you were rocking the boat. And if you even question that, I can remember, oh my gosh, in many classes that I would always be raising my hand going, I don't understand. Why is that scary? Why is that a problem? And the answer was, there was no answer. It's just because we said so.
Right.
Because we said so. So, it's interesting, again, to tie back to the tarot, here the art is doing what art has done all along.
Right.
The artist's job is to create a venue for a conversation. And then when you look at it, you take that and
you internalize it, and then you experience it through your human lens.
And there you go.
And it's that alchemical tool that produces, emotional change or psychological change or spiritual change. That is pretty interesting. I mean, I hope that with this discussion that even though your childhood was very rigid in its like thought control and fear-based propaganda and that kind of stuff, I am so, so glad that we do not live in that era anymore. I mean, I'm really glad that the tides seem to be changing and society is getting more accepting and people are not reacting so fearful. That's my hope, actually.
But I think they still are.
I know.
Well, I think that's the problem. Again, history keeps repeating itself.
It doesn't repeat, but it certainly rhymes.
Right. It does the same. I mean, what is it that there's so much room? I mean, gosh, we live on such a beautiful planet. You can't wake up and go, oh my gosh, this is a gorgeous place.
Yeah.
And humans are all remarkable. And how we unpack our humanity and experience life.
It's so precious.
It is so precious. It's profound precious. And the time is short.
I know.
It's so short. So, you know, I appreciate you taking the time. Now I'm not scared of the deck anymore.
You shouldn't be.
And
now what's next is for me to give you a tarot reading.
I look forward to that. I really do.
Yeah, well, that'll be fun.
Thanks.
And it'll be fun for you to experience getting a tarot reading. And I want you to give me your honest feedback, right? Don't just be nice to me because I'm your daughter, but give me your honest feedback. Like, did you feel like the tarot reading was helpful for you? You know, how was your mind reacting to the artwork?
Right.
Like that kind of thing. And I think it'd be curious to get your feedback if you'd like a reading.
I would. Thank you. I would. Thank you.
This was fun.
It was so
fun. And if you guys want more chats with my mom, let me know.
I've got a lot to say.
She does. She's got lots of wisdom.
Real close. Okay, I got a lot to say, like all mothers.
Anyway, take care, everyone, and till next time.